Artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science which making sense of machines do things that would require intelligence if done by a man. That's given by the Minsky. It's a branch of science which is the exciting new effort to make computers think. You can say it's a study of computations that make it possible to perceive, reason, and act. And it's the study of how to do things which at the moment people do better than machines by Richard Knight. So artificial intelligence term was first coined in 1956 by John McCarthy at MIT. The AI labels. We have three labels of AI: the narrow, general, and the strong. The narrow AI is one which is where the machine can perform a specific task, maybe equal to the human capacity or maybe better than human sometime. And you will be surprised that almost all research in AI is residing at this place present day. So still we are in an infancy of AI development. The next is the general AI, in which the AI reaches the general state when it can perform any intellectual task with the same accuracy level as a human would. So that means in the narrow AI, the machines are trained to perform the specific task, and in general AI, the same machine can do the multiple tasks of AI. And the strong AI. So an AI which is strong, it can beat humans in many tasks. That means reaching that level where the machines can think, machines can put reasons, machine can dream, machine can have emotions, or machine can build machines. So that's a strong AI, and we are very, very far away from this strong AI level. So let's go through some artificial intelligence examples. Then in daily life, we go through many AI examples. So let's see what are those. So now AI around us in daily life. The one very good example, your smartphone, which is in your pocket right now. Your smartphone does many operations which are based on artificial intelligence. The one very good example is the personal voice assistants. I think many of you have utilized this strength of personal assistants. For example, the Google voice assistant, Siri in the Apple phones, Bixby in the Samsung phones, and Zhao AI in the MI phones, Cortana for Microsoft, Alexa of Amazon. So here you can see in example snapshot that when you say OK Google, the phone automatically responds to this and say how I can help, as you can see on the screen. So you can talk with your phone, you can do many tasks, you can tell your phone to book an appointment with some person, you can ask the phone to book a table in a restaurant. So many things you can do with your voice assistants. You can dial a call, you will say open a camera, it will open a camera for you. So that's a very helpful voice assistants. So the artificial intelligence is all behind this voice assistants. So this is artificial intelligence which listen your commands, which listen your voice, it interprets, and then according to that it gives action and performs various tasks. Now other example is the camera, mobile phone camera. You will be surprised at how camera is using AI. Now see this. For the selfie crazy people, the portrait mode is one of the attracting photography. So many people like to draw take their photos in portrait mode. Portrait mode means when your face is highlighted and the background is blurred. So it gives more attractive photographs. Of course, this arrangement is the basic facility in the DSLR cameras, but in mobile phones are not DSLR cameras. So this effect you can generate with the help of the two cameras. So that's why nowadays in the mobile phones you are seeing the dual camera setup. Most of the mobile phones are coming with the dual cameras. The one camera is a main camera which take photograph, and second is the camera which is used to sense the depth of the object. So if suppose I am standing here and this is the background, the depth camera will sense the depth of the foreground and the background. So and the artificial intelligence or some other image processing algorithm inside the phone will detect or isolate the object from the background, and it will keep object crisp while it will blur the background. So that is done by the simple image processing algorithm, no AI. But where is AI? AI is when the same effect is generated with the help of a single camera. Dual lens camera can do this efficiently, but the single lens camera, which is not a depth camera, can generate the portrait mode also. For example, here a Google Pixel 2 phone is shown with a single camera. It can also generate a very beautiful portrait modes. So now the AI, the software is working in the scene, in the background. It takes the picture and then it identifies the face, your edges, and then try to isolate your face from the background and makes background blur. So this is how the AI is working in the portrait mode with a single lens setup. But since all algorithms are not very efficient, they are not, you cannot say that they are the 100% solution of the problem. So if you have taken the portrait mode in your phone also with a single lens, you might have noticed that there are some blurring around the edges of the faces also. Sometimes it happens, particularly around the ears and this neck area, or sometimes some hairs are also get blurred or merged into the background. So that means there is a problem in the algorithm which is not able to identify the object of foreground and the background. Yes, the second thing is the scene optimization. So generally now most of the companies are writing in small around the camera module that AI camera. What does it mean? It means that when you take a photograph of a particular scene, depending on the type of scene, the software adjusts the all camera settings automatically. You can do manually. If you are a professional photograph, you can shutter speed, your exposure, and your focus, everything to achieve a beautiful photograph. But this is done automatically by the software depending on the type of scene. That if you are taking snapshot of this hall, what should be the ISO rating, what should be the focus, what should be the other settings, that is done by the AI for you. So the algorithm inside the phone is trained for many scenes, whether you are taking for beach or some in some dark room, you are taking photographs of some food or something else. So this is how AI is working in your phone. Smart cars and drones. Of course, I think some previous experts might have given these examples, so I am also giving, but you cannot avoid it. Tesla. You might have heard the name Tesla. Who is heading this company? A very famous personality who is associated with the SpaceX program. It's Elon Musk. You know the name? It's Elon Musk. If you don't know, search in the Google. It's a very dynamic guy. So Elon Musk Tesla is an autopilot in an advanced driver assistance system. This car is not fully automatic. It is not fully autonomous, but it's a hybrid. It's a normal car fitted with the artificial intelligence devices. So it has the capacity that it can center itself in the lane. It has adaptive cruise control. It can park itself. So just near the parking, you just come out from the car and give the command park. The car will automatically go in the parking and park itself. So it has automatically line changing ability, and also if you want to call your car from the parking, you just call on a mobile phone. Take your GPS coordinate and it will come out from the parking and reach to you. So this is like something we have seen in the James Bond movies, that car, when James Bond calls car, the car comes to him. The other project is very famous project is the Waymo. Waymo actually, initially it was developed by the Google, and later it was taken by the Waymo LLC. And in 2016, this was transferred from Google to the Waymo. This is a autonomous car. They are trying hard to make it fully autonomous. It's under trial. Now drones. We have seen drones as a toy, but these are not only toys, they are intelligent toys, intelligent drones. Why intelligent? I have taken one example of the unique Typhoon H Pro. This is one product of drone. It has the advanced obstacle sensing capability. That means it camera senses the surroundings and identifies what are the obstacles. So without colliding with the walls and trees, it can fly by its own. It has auto takeoff, auto landing facilities, and it has an auto return home. Auto return to home means, suppose it has traveled, let's say, 1 kilometer distance by flying, then if you give the command, just go to your home, it will automatically follow that path and will go to the landing point from where it has started. And it has a very beautiful feature of follow me. I think some of you have seen some videos of follow me. Follow me is a feature of AI in which you just throw your drone, it flies, and give the command follow me. So when you walk, it follows, it flies behind you. So it is not remotely controlled. It is, you just walk and it will automatically follows you. So it is utilized in taking photographs and videos when you are going through streets and some holidays photographs like that. So AI, you can see, definitely is working behind all the scene. Now this next photo is very famous. I think all of you have seen in televisions, particularly from the United States Air Force. It's their MQ-9 Reaper drone. It has manual control as well as autonomous control. So it has the ability to detect the targets in the scenes and launching the weapons to destroy them. And US Air Force extensively use this drone to destroy the terrorist camp. Now the future, see what I have written in the red color. The e-commerce companies like Amazon or Walmart, right now they are heavily investing in the drone delivery program. So it means once you order some product from e-commerce website, instead of courier, a drone will come to your home to deliver that product automatically, based on the basis of your GPS coordinate of your home. So that I hope that it will come in reality very soon. Social media. I think most of the people have addiction with the social media. Your social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. The AI is working heavily behind the scene. So if we are using social media, most of our decisions are being impacted by AI. How? From the feeds that we see in our timeline to the notifications that we receive, everything is curated by the AI. So how does it happen? Actually, whenever we spend some time on particular posts, particular pages, it notices everything. It captures our behavior, it captures our preferences, it captures that how much time we spend on some particular feed or post. So on the basis of our web searches, our behavior, our interactions, everything, it tailors the facility or the post which are highlighted mostly in our timeline, which we generally like to see them. And obviously the purpose is that to make you addict to these websites, so you visit them again and again. There may be the different reasons to visit again, but this is the way of the advertisement. And now the media streaming devices. You have heard the name Spotify, Netflix, YouTube. The AI is also working there. How? If you are using YouTube on your mobile phone, you have noticed one thing. When you open a YouTube, you see the number of recommended videos first, generally of the categories in which you mostly spend time, right? So the recommendation video section of YouTube, it's a very efficient as point of AI point of view. So next time when you are hitting some play on recommended video on YouTube, or watching recommended show on Netflix, or listening a pre-card playlist, I mean same is happened with the audio streaming websites also, such as Spotify. So AI is closely observing your behavior, your preferences, and then it mostly offers those songs and videos in those categories, generally in which you refer. Now, video games. Some of you might have the addiction with the video games. So, video game is the industry is probably one of the earliest adapters of AI. So, the OpenAI 5, it's a computer program which is developed by the company OpenAI, which is being backed by Elon Musk, which I was taking his name a few minutes before. The Elon Musk company has developed OpenAI 5. It's a software. This software can play video games against you, and it is so intelligent that it can beat you in the very professional games like Dota 2. I don't know how many of you have played this game, where at each and every second you have to make the new strategies to survive. So even some other important games like CSGO, PUBG, or Fortnite, they have the artificial curated bots. Bots means their character in the games against the computer generated characters. They are artificially intelligent, and you have to fight with them. So in a training session or something else, and then you can fight with the real time players. The ad networks, again, it's a very important area of AI. Many companies are taking help of this AI in their advertisement, particularly the e-commerce companies. So it is one of the biggest user of artificial intelligence, where AI not only track user statistics, but also serve us ads based on our statistics. This is similar to the social media, that someone is closing our activity, observing our activity and our interest in various products, and on the basis of our interest, they offer the advertisement in various web pages. So you have noticed when you go to Amazon to search a particular product, let's say you want to purchase a mouse, so you go through the various mouse products on Amazon after spending few minutes. When you go to the other web pages, you see that in the advertisement windows, those Amazon products are served to you again and again. So it is forcefully drawing your attentions to go again and to purchase that product. So that is how AI is working behind the scene. And this company has a very good growth. It has become more than $250 million in 2018, and it is expected to cross 300 million in 2019, this year. So next time when you're going for some online shoppings and seeing some ads on websites for some product recommendations, that means AI is impacting your life. In this figure, you can see that there are some shopping suggestions which are based on your previous website surfing on e-commerce websites. Now, navigation and travel. Most of us use these facilities in mobile phones, and really it is very, very good. I think instead of asking the address of someone from the unknown people, it is better you just take out your mobile phone, open the Google map, and you can just easily reach to your destination. I have traveled many unknown cities without asking anything to anyone, just on the basis of the Google Maps. There is one example I remember. I went visited Ahmedabad, Gujarat. I never went before. So I was just returning from Nirma University to my stay point. I asked the auto rickshaw that can you go to this point? He refused. Many refused. They said we don't know the way how to go. I don't know why they were saying like this. So as a confident traveler, I said, okay, no problem. I am sitting. I will guide you from where you have to travel. So I just opened my mobile phone and then I just guided that auto driver, and finally I reached to my home. That was a very beautiful example in my life. Now, so when you use Google Maps for navigation, or you are calling a taxi service, for example Uber or Ola, or you are booking a flight, the AI is working in the scene for you. How? When you are calling an Uber for taxi, both pricing and the car that matches your ride request is decided by the software. So there are, suppose I am here, I want to go home by the Ola taxi or Uber, I give the request, then artificial intelligence software sees all the available taxis around me in this area, and it calls the nearest one or someone who takes a less fare, and depending on my interest, it gives the request to that taxi driver. So both Google and Apple, along with their navigation services, use AI to interpret hundreds of thousands data points that they receive to give you the real time traffic. That's another beautiful example of AI, that is the highlighting the real time traffic on the Google Maps. How many of you have used this facility in a mobile phone to see the real time traffic? Yes, very important. So sometimes instead of stucking in a jam, you take alternate path just by seeing those red or green lines on Google Maps. So someone is taking your GPS coordinate without your consent. Your phone is capturing your GPS coordinate each and every time, and you don't know what is happening inside. I was surprised one day, just I was surfing the internet, I got an article that these companies are stealing your information without your knowledge, and they gave one example, that the GPS location. So I tried those steps, and certainly I found a very shocking data of me in my phone or in the internet server. So my daily routine is, in morning I drive my car to go to the Anand Engg college and then come back to home. So this is my routine. It's a cycle every day. And I was surprised to see my data in the Google map, the thousands of circles between these 2 points. I never gave permission, but the mobile phones are taking these data, my locations every day. Okay, so fortunately I shut down that feature. So now they cannot track me. But still we don't know, because hardware is there, software is there, what hidden features they have given, nobody knows. That's why it is generally said the few people have fear in taking Chinese phone. Generally the Chinese have habits of spying on us. So if you take the Chinese phone, there may be the fair chances that everything what you are doing is, they are gathering that information with their servers. One company is banned for this, that's the Huawei. Huawei was banned by India and many other companies for stealing such informations. Now banking and finance, another very important area of artificial intelligence. So the banking and finance industry heavily relies on AI for things like customer service, fraud protection, and suggestion for investment, and many more. So a simple example is that the automated emails. Many times you get automated emails in your box inbox from your banks, uh, the AI software is continuously tracking your activities. If you do something out of the track transaction, the AI watchdog alerts and it gives you the notification via SMS or email that it may be a fraud. It is just information. If it is done by you, it's okay. If not, then inform us. This sort of emails you generally receive. So AI is also being trained to look at large samples of fraud data. So this is not that AI is observing you only, it is observing the many users nationwide or worldwide for the similar behavior. And the algorithm is able to detect whether it's a general transaction or it's a fraud transaction. So on the basis of the continuous training or continuous learning, the AI once capable of differentiating the fraud and non-fraud actions. Now AI is used to predict the market trends, making it easier for us to find avenues for better investment. So we have the gold rate, everyday gold rate change. So we have the huge data of past several years. We have the huge data of past several years of the stock market, that how the stock market is changing. With that huge data, the AIs are trained to predict the future also. So with the help of those predictions, if I want to invest some lakhs of money in, let's say, next month, then I can take help of AI whether I should go for investment or not. So it will suggest me, okay, it's favorable conditions, you can invest or not. Now smart home devices. Generally it is not very familiar in the Indian environment, particularly in the foreign environment these are quite common. There are very intelligent home devices such as your refrigerator, your washing machine, your air conditioner, even the lights and fans, all are intelligent and connected to network. So the AI is working behind all these devices. The examples is given here, setting the temperature according to our requirements, because it observes our habit and preferences. Generally, in our scenario, what happens, we manually set by the remote 26 degree or 25 degree something else, but in AI powered air conditioner, you don't need to set manually. Depending on the weather conditions or room temperature, humidity, and even our mood, it can set the temperature. One example has given, the last one you can see, the smart music system. So in India, I haven't seen such things, but in foreign countries, some restaurants have this type of facilities. So what happens, the software detects the mood of a person by its facial expression, and depending on the mood of expression, it starts playing the song which suits him most. Suppose someone is very sad with a broken heart sitting in the restaurant, and it starts playing the gay songs of Ajay Singh or someone else, the sad songs. And there are smart lights. They adopt their intensities, color, and switch on, switch off depending on our moods and preferences. So this is all about smart devices. Now, security and surveillance. One of the prominent, or I would say the important aspects of AI. In normal cases, we have CCTV cameras, and someone is there to see the screen, what is happening in a particular section of a building, how the peoples are moving, how the peoples are behaving. So on the some suspicious activity, they call alerts. But suppose there is a complex system, there are, let's say, the whole city is being monitored. Whole city is being monitored with the thousands of the cameras. So for a human being, it is not possible to observe all those 1,000 screens simultaneously. So what is happening in particular frame? So AI can play important roles. It is analyzing each and every camera output with its intelligence, whether is there some suspicious activity is detected or not. If some suspicious activity is detected, then it raises the alarm, or it records that scene or something else. This is very challenging part also from research point of view. I am also planning to, this is my idea, that I want to work on the human action recognition. Human action recognition, because I want to develop a system where the cameras can detect the human activities. And suppose if there is on some street, some person snatch the gold chain of some lady, then your AI must be capable to identify that this is activity which is against the law, and it can inform the local police station automatically with that GPS coordinator and with capture frame. So this can be a topic of good research. If you have interest, you can develop such systems. But later we will see that the things are not easy, that this is easy to think or imagine, but to develop the real systems, this is not so easy. The giants of the companies are not even able to develop the good AI systems like Google's or Facebook. We will see later why. Yes, cameras. With cameras, you can do some more actions like object recognition or face recognition. That if somebody comes to your home, then it will capture the face, and if it is some known person, the door will automatically open, or if it is some unknown, then it will alert you that the person is unknown, be careful. So obviously the AI, last one, the AI powered cameras can detect fire in the scene. This I included myself because last year I gave this as project to my students, that make a system to detect fire if some object catch fire, so camera can detect and raise the alarm. Generally for fire detection, what we apply the fire sensor. Suppose in this hall you want to detect the fire, you have to place various fire sensors at various places, fire and smoke sensors. So it creates the extra expenditure and financial burden to the organization. But I was thinking that suppose if camera is there, if camera is installed here, it is capturing each and everything, is doing surveillance, as well as it is doing additional job of detecting fire. If fire is caught by some object in this hall, it can raise the alarm. So you have to identify the fire from the scene, you have to identify whether it's a fire or not. Although my students could make it at some level, but the problem was if some object is there which is similar in the color with the fire, so that creates a false alarm. It is not able to differentiate because that was not trained on AI, it was simply with the machine learning algorithms. Those were actually BTech students. Medical field. AI is now playing a very important role in medical areas. We have AI assisted robots for doing surgery. A study was carried which involved 379 orthopedic patients, found that AI assisted robotic procedure resulted 5 times fewer complications as compared to the surgeon operations alone. That means AI beat the surgeon in this area. The pupil got the lesser complications in AI assisted robot surgery. And other is the virtual nursing assistant. So there is a nurse, virtual, that means in your phone or internet. So if you're feeling some wrong, and you can talk with that nurse. So that is example of a chatbot, right? So there's a AI assisted chatbots you can talk with, that I am feeling, these are my symptoms, what medicine I should take, what precautions I should take, they will suggest. And very efficient chatbots we have for nursing applications. Now the diagnosis, it's a very challenging and the current hot field of AI and image processing. What happens? You go Even in your life also you have noticed this you have taken this experience that many times if you have some problem in your body, you go for some x-ray or some ultrasound or sonography and something else. You see that the report which the doctor writes, that depends on his visualization power, his recognition power. He's intelligent. If doctor is intelligent, he has very vast experience in recognizing a particular disease from your ultrasound report or x-ray, then he can write the correct diagnosis. But many times we have seen there are different types of people with different backgrounds or different types of doctors. They do mistakes, and because of the mistakes, वो जान पे आफत भी ऐसा भी होता है. द रॉन्ग मेडिकेशन, आदमी चला गया, उसको टाइम से मेडिकेशन ही निकला. So that problem happens. But now AI is taking this challenge. So what happens with the we train the algorithm with the millions of the, let's say, X-ray datas. If someone has a cancerous tumors in lungs or something, we take millions of images of those cancerous cells, and we ask the expert doctors. We hire a team of experts and in that area, and we classify those. This is cancerous, this is non-cancerous sort of things. And this data, labeled data, is given to the AI algorithm. So AI algorithm is trained with this labeled data, which sonography or which ultrasound is cancerous, which is not. And after several iterations, the AI has become so powerful that in many cases it gives better diagnosis than the doctors. So we have a Stanford University. They carried a research on AI algorithm to detect skin cancers. So and they found that this AI algorithm beat various dermatologists in identification of the cancerous cells in the skin. That's the beauty of AI. Other thing is image analysis. Again, suppose you have some problems, you have something, some rashes or some cuts here, you just capture your photo and send it to the clinical assistant. Automatically the AI assisted system will identify what type of disease is this, and it will suggest the preferred medications, or it can suggest the nearby doctors or experts to visit the doctors or specialists. Now there are many fields. I can talk till evening, and I think the many previous experts might have talked all these. ऐसा कुछ इनपुट मिला आपको इन प्रीवियस लेक्चर्स? मिला होगा, बताइए. मिला ना? Okay. So it may be repetition, but I have some given beautiful images. Okay. Now your email, your inbox, that is also AI power. Your Gmail inbox is AI power. So when you receive an email, it is analyzed by the algorithm, and then it is given to a particular category. It is assigned to that bin. So if you have seen your inbox, there are few tabs like important, social media, feed, shopping, etc. So on the basis of the contents of the email, they are classified and then sent to the respective bins. So that is a classification of the emails. Or the smart replies. This is not an old feature. It has introduced a few months before by the Google. So when you type some or write some email, then it suggests the sentences intelligently. For example, once I was writing at the end of the email, thanks and regards. So I just wrote thanks. It suggested me and regards. So it saves my time and it speeds up the writing the things. Same thing happens in the predictive text in the search engine also. If you search something in the Google search engine, image is also shown in the downside. So if you write something that what I should do, even if you don't complete your sentence, there are many suggestions in the Google search engine. So that is a predictive suggestions based on artificial intelligence. And the nudging reminders. It's again a good feature in Gmail. If you ignore some email and you don't read it for a long time, something highlights in orange color to the left side and it draws your attention that please read this email. It is lying for 15 days. You have not read it. Okay. The other thing is the NLP, natural language processing. Somebody gave me the input that in this workshop somebody has already given lecture on NLP. So you are aware with that what is a natural language processing. There are many examples you even do in your daily life. For example, the chatbots. Chatbots means you are chatting with a virtual person. There is no one behind the curtain, but you are doing conversation with that virtual person, making summary. So this is done by the computers automatically. Suppose you have a long write-up of 2-3 pages and you want to make the summary of it in few lines or few paragraphs. You can do, of course, the computer can also do. So they read the text, the whole text, and they identify the important phrases and combine them to make it summary. So there are many Android applications also. They are working in this NLP. For example, the in shorts or short news, something types of applications in Android phone. They gives you the short news of 40 words or 100 words. How do they do it? No person is doing this for you. They automatically go to the various news websites, take main newses and summarize it and present to you. So that is one example of NLP, and one is the question answering. Again, that is a part of chatbot. Suppose one paragraph is given to a student, let's say some biography of some person, and few questions are asked on the basis of that paragraph. So obviously we can do it reading that paragraph and finding the answers of those questions from that paragraph, but the computers can also do it. Although this is not a well researched part, it is research going on. So the computer can understand the paragraphs, they can take decisions, and on the basis of those questions they can find answers. They can search answers from those paragraphs. Translation. Many of us use translation from one language to another language. That is again the example of AI. So if you have some Chinese text, you can see in English or something else, vice versa. So translation is a very good example of natural language processing, and it helps us a lot of. This facility is given in our mobile phones also. Suppose you are visiting China, then obviously it will be very, very difficult even to search restaurants or talking with a pupil or something else. So in that case, your phone can assist you. So just open your translation application such as Google Translate. It has the camera features. Suppose there is a supermarket, something is written about some product and in Chinese, but I am not able to understand what is written. So I will just focus my camera to that text and open this translation. My translation will be done in English, so I can understand what is written in the Chinese or some other languages. Of course, Hindi is still a problem for researchers, because structure of Hindi is something different. If somebody is motivated with this, they can go for Hindi and Indian languages, because they have matras and many things which is much difficult to interpret than the English alphabet. They are discrete in nature. Now the text to speech and speech to text. Very good examples. Text to speech, that means something is written there, and suppose I am blind, I am not able to see what is written there. So for blind people it is a boon. I just open a camera, or somebody has assisted me to focus it, and the camera is taking these pictures and it is reading each and everything what is written on that board. So it can help the disabled pupil with the text to speech. Even your mobile phone has this facility. I don't know if you have used it or not. And the speech to text, another very good example. That means you talk, computer will write for you. I don't know how many of you use this facility. I often use it. Even in my mobile phones, for writing SMS or WhatsApp message, I use this facility for long messages, and it works accurately in a silence environment. That's a requirement. There should not be the background noise. So even I have tried the Hindi also. For example, Diwali ki Hardik Shubhkamnaएं. I speak and the Google understand and it writes Diwali ki Hardik Shubhkamnaएं. It's a very intelligent NLP learning engine. Now the defense area, it's very important for artificial intelligence point of view. One example of attacking drone we have already seen. Now we have the surveillance satellites. Recently India has launched a satellite particularly to focus on Pakistan. So what terrorists are doing in the POKs in Pakistan, India has launched I think 1 week ago. So it takes photographs of terrain and identifies the objects and the human activity also. I'm thinking that Indian government is making some plan to kill its enemy, like what USA did with Osama. So maybe, hopefully we will listen this news very soon. Object and target recognition. Of course, this is some weapons like tank or missile launch pad or something else, or it's a residence. So you can throw your bombs, laser guided bombs or something else. The one good example is the smart bomb. I have taken purposely this name Spice 2000. How many are aware with this Spice 2000 terminology? Anyone? Yes, good. Do you know the background of Spice 2000? I have given the photographs also. I'd say bomb which has a camera in front of it, you can see. And this is a bomb which hits the target on the scene matching technology. Scene matching technology means, suppose I want to destroy a particular target, I will feed the video of that target and with a proper angle of attack or drop to the memory of this missile computer, and once it is launched from the aircraft, it travels and the camera in front of it captures the terrain area and it try to find the object which is already fed in its memory, that target, and later it search, if it is searched, then it hits to that target. So it does not need any GPS. That's a beautiful. Because if suppose you are fighting with your enemy state and they have capability to jam your GPS. For example, US is the boss in this case. We have our own India's GPS is a very initial state. We have launched just 7 satellites to make our indigenous GPS system. But US has already 24 GPS, Russia has 37 satellites. To, Russian GPS is known as the GLONASS, or American GPS is known as the AGPS. They are strong in that area. And they have capability to destroy our GPS also. So they can jam our GPS. So in that case, we cannot hit a missile which is based on the GPS coordinates. So in that case, if GPS is jammed, such bombs can do miracles. And this also doesn't work on the heat signatures. That means it doesn't follow any heat or something. So it is based on scene matching technology. So it can destroy in many conditions. Purposely, I have taken this as one person raised his hand. This was the bomb. Let me tell you its importance. This was the bomb which India used against Pakistan in Balakot strike, air strike. So this Spice 2000 bomb, which is made by the Israel, which works on the scene matching AI technology, which was used by Indian Air Force in recent air strike on Pakistan. Now AI tree. Hope it is visible. This is not much clear. In Circle, artificial intelligence is written and many branches are coming. The first branch is ML, machine learning, right? And it is further expanded into the deep learning, supervised, unsupervised learning. I will come to the deep learning point also later in the second version of my presentation. Deep learning, which utilizes the deep neural networks. It's really a sophisticated state-of-the-art technology. And then supervised learning, unsupervised learning. I think the people from the engineering background knows what is supervised and unsupervised learning. For example, for supervised learning, there is a example of SVM, support vector machine. Unsupervised learning, for example, that clustering, nearest neighbor classification, or PCA, principal component analysis. Those are branches of image processing. Now NLP, natural language processing, content extraction from the text, classification of text, machine translation, which I have already covered, question answering like chatbots, and then text generation. So text generation means on the basis of some scene. For example, I can write some poetry, I can write some explanation of a particular scene, but the computers cannot do it. But you can train them. If there is a sunset picture, computer can write some poetry of some sunsets or something else, right? So that's the text generation. Expert systems we have, they give guidance to us for in case of a particular doubt or solving some problem. And then vision, the computer vision, that's the machine vision and the image recognition. And I got report that this part is also covered in this workshop by one professor of IIT. So no need to talk much about it. And the speech, text to speech, speech to text, and of course in the planning and the robotics. Robotics is a huge area which utilizes the strength and potential of AI. In my next topics, I will cover the upper branch, the orange one, that's the machine learning and the deep learning. So I will give one example, not one, 2 or 3 examples of machine learning based on deep learning for object classification. This is the machine learning. So under the umbrella of artificial intelligence, the machine in learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. AI is a broad term and machine learning is a specialized term. And inside the machine learning, the subset is a deep learning. That means solving the particular problems of machine learning, we use a tool, deep learning. So we will go for deep learning examples later. And here you can see the timelines. So artificial intelligence is not new concept starting from 1952 as I said. So from 50s, 60s, 70s, the AI was in abstract form. Then machine learning came when computers evolved, the hardware evolved, the computational power evolved. Then we were able to do the various machine learning computations of on computers because of the more strength of the hardware. And later, when hardware is so powerful now, we landed to deep learning. So deep learning, you can visualize that it is something which is which mimic the human vision system or human way of learning. That if I know that this is a mouse, how do I know it's a mouse? Because in my life, I think millions of times I have seen it in different conditions, lying here, lying here, lying here, lying in my bag, or lying on my bed, on my table, chair, everywhere I have seen it on not this shape, different shapes, different colors. So my brain continuously continuously observe the objects, and it learns continuously in the background, even though we are not aware with that. But the computers does. In deep learning, the same thing is repeated, that the computer programs are trained for millions of images, and they are told that this is the mouse. So after the training, if you give the, I will show you one example. I brought the camera. I will show you, I will face this camera to this object. It will tell this is mouse. I will show you with the deep learning. Just the difference between machine learning and the deep learning. As I said, machine learning is a superset, deep learning is a subset. So there is a problem of cat versus dog. I mean, recognizing whether this picture belongs to cat or dog. So what happens with the machine learning? So it relies on feature extraction from the input images. I mean, your algorithm extracts some spatial features from images to distinguish the cat and dog images. For example, they may highlight the whiskers, ears, eyes, and some other features defined by us. That's important. On the basis of these features, some classifiers are there, and they classify the images, whether this input image belongs to cat or belongs to dog. So, but in deep learning, what happens? Deep learning takes ML means machine learning, one step ahead. In deep learning automatically finds these features from the input image set. That's important. What happens in machine learning? I suggest the features, but in deep learning, computer program automatically generates features. They don't take my input. In machine learning, I suggest the classifier, whether you have to use neural networks, you have to use PCA, SVM, or nearest neighbor classifier, something else. I have to tell. So, there is a manual setting in the machine learning algorithms, but in deep learning, everything is automatic. You don't need to specify the features, you don't need to specify the classifiers, everything happens automatically. So, this is one good comparison you can see here in the images. In the top images, which is machine learning. So, you have various input images of car, and few features are extracted from those images. And what features? That I will suggest to the algorithm. You concentrate on color, you concentrate on certain edges, you concentrate on certain front or everything. And then there is a classifier. The third block is the classifier, which classify or which identifies whether it's a car, truck, bicycle or something else. And in deep learning, you have the image database and see a single box. And this single box is responsible for finding all features automatically and the classifier. So, in the table you can see the comparison that machine learning is good results with a small data set. For machine learning algorithm, you don't need a very large data set for training. For few, let's say 1000 or few hundred images are sufficient to train the algorithm. But in deep learning, as I said, it mimics the human vision system or the human way of learning. That means you need millions of images of the objects to tell or to train the algorithm that this is a particular object. You may need 100 hours of videos to train a particular network. So, that is one foundation on deep learning. Machine learning is quick to train because data set is small, few features are given by us. Software doesn't need to calculate those features, we suggest those features. So, it's quick to train. While the deep learning algorithms, they are computationally intensive. That means they needs one of the best hardware in the world, lots of GPU computations, teraflops, lot of things. So, if you want to implement a deep learning from the scratch at your own end, it is not possible at all. Even in India, there is no facility which can match that facility which the Google or Facebook have. They have best of the hardwares, and even on those hardwares, with those millions of images, the computers run for several days and weeks to train those millions of images. So, it needs a lot of time. Machine learning needs try different features and classifications to achieve best results. So, in the first figure, which is representing ML, we suggest two things. One is the feature, the second block, and one is the classifier, that is the third block. So, to achieve, suppose in certain case you are not getting good results, you have to try lot of combinations of features and classifier, because some classifier work well with some features while others work well with other features. So, you have to try. Suppose I am classifying the dog and cat, if with a certain eyes or ears or whiskers I am not able to achieve better results, I have to go for the different features. Or if my SVM classifier or nearest neighbor classifier is not working, then I have to try for artificial neural network or something else. So, I have to try different combinations in machine learning, but In deep learning, everything happens automatically. So it learns feature and it classifies everything automatically. So we are not concerned about it. Machine learning, accuracy plateau. It means at certain time period, the accuracy is saturated. Even in that case, once it is saturated, if you increase the number of inputs or you take best combination of classifier and features, still you will not be able to increase the accuracy of the results. But in in deep learning, the accuracy is infinite. So that means you can train more number of images, you can have more tweaks in the structure, neural network structure. I will explain later. So you can understand what is deep learning. So I think I may stop here. In the next session, I will cover the deep learning and I will show you some real life examples. Can I take few more minutes? Okay, let me continue. 5 minutes more. So deep learning. What is deep learning? Deep learning, as I said, is a subset of machine learning. The key feature of deep learning is the deep neural networks. Okay, deep neural networks. So what do we mean by the deep? Deep means the number of layers in neural networks, if are more, they are, let's say, about hundreds, then such networks, neural networks, are called deep neural networks. So for general applications, we take neural network as written here. For traditional neural networks, they contain only the 2-3 layers. Let's say one input layer, one output layer, and there is a one hidden layer, and it is sufficient to do the various machine learning tasks. But in deep learning, these number of layers can be as much as 150 and more. I will give you few examples where few available deep neural networks have more than 150 layers, very, very complex. So you can imagine that how much computation power is needed for training because of so much big network. So that's why deep learning models are trained using large data set and neural network architecture that learns feature directly from the data without need of manual feature extraction that happens in ML, where we gives the manual feature extraction. So here one example of the artificial neural network is given for the persons, those who are from engineering or science background, or those who have worked in artificial neural network, they are aware with this. And those who are not, let me explain a little bit. The neural networks actually the similar representation of the human brain structure. So in human brains, there are millions of neurons, and there is a very complex net of neurons. So similar sort of architecture we have tried to implement in software or hardware. So these nodes are actually not neurons. Okay, but neuron as a mathematical tool, it is nothing special. Biologically it may be special, but mathematically it's a body which performs some addition, subtractions, that's it. Okay, so it's a simplest version. So with the combinations of these neural networks, these neurons, we make a net. Now what happens? How they are trained? Actually, you see the various arrows, right? So that means the signal from one neuron is going to various neuron. This is actually governed by some weight. That means there is a multiplier. Okay, so each line is representing some multiplication factor. If the first neuron is giving some output, that means it is multiplied with some factors and then given to the next neuron. So during the training, these multipliers or weights keeps on changing. They are continuously changed, and after a certain training period, they are stabilized, and then we say that my network is trained and now it can do its own work. Deep learning. This is there are different types of artificial neural network. Out of that family, there is one which is very popular and very capable. It has potential. This is known as the CNN. It is the convolutional neural network which is the soul of deep learning. So CNN involves learned features with the input data, and it uses two-dimensional convolution. Okay, the various ANN are generally work on the array, one-dimensional array. It's a special ANN which works on the two-dimensional array. That means, so that's why it is suitable to work with images, because images are two-dimensional data array. So that's why the CNN is extensively used, and it is the base of any deep neural network. But as progress happens, it doesn't stop. Improvements are always there. So this is not only the base nowadays. There are many improvements in the CNN architectures. There are other networks like Boltzmann machines and something else. They are soul of your deep neural network. So I'm not going into the detail what it's doing, because it's a separate topic which will take many hours to explain that how CNN is working. If you are interested, I have a very interesting video which can explain the convolutional neural network with a simple possible mathematics involved, so everybody can understand. I will give, if I can receive your emails, I can give you share that links. So I think I should stop here. In the next session we will meet here, and I will show you that how to implement the deep neural network for your own application. You can implement on your laptop, on your local machine, for configuring some tasks. I have some hardware also. I will show you a few examples of object recognition. Okay, any question? Okay. Right. Definitely. That's true.
तो हम इतनी सारी क्यों कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हम सीधे ये सारे एफर्ट्स हम उस स्टूडेंट्स के लिए ही लगा दें.
That's really a good question. That instead of training machines, why we should not train the students? Even let's say you can make it generalized. We can train the humans. Humans को भी बहुत सीखने की ज़रूरत है. देखिए, ये ऐसा इसलिए है क्योंकि AI is not everywhere. It is applied in certain areas where the human capacity cannot solve those problems. For example, you want to search a particular image from the database of, let's say, 1 crore images. Can you do? No. No human can do it, but machines can do. So in certain applications areas where the human capacity or human potential is not able to solve that problem, the computers can do, then we have the capacity, we have tool like deep networks, so we can train the machines to solve our problems. As I said, one example of medical area, that diagnosis, the many doctors, they are in present scenario, there are so many private universities, and with donations they take admission in MBBS or so. The diagnosis again depends on the experience, okay, and your knowledge. So if you are not able to recognize or diagnose a particular let's say X-ray report, then you can suggest a particular person for wrong medication, and it can create complications. So in that cases, machines, if machines can do better, then definitely we should train them. Of course, as I said, machines cannot replace human. I always support the what a teacher can do in classroom, machine cannot do. I understand. गुरु गुरु होता है, उसको कंप्यूटर नहीं बढ़ा सकता. तो कुछ चीज़ें हैं इसमें वो ऑब्वियस है ना. तो बहुत सिंपल सा ये है कि जहाँ पे मशीन की ज़रूरत है, जहाँ पे ह्यूमन कैपेसिटी से बाहर चला गया है कोई काम, तो बेटर है कि वी कैन ट्रेन मशीन्स. वी हैव दैट पोटेंशियल. यस यस.
Which is troubling me since last few presentations.
Okay.
One of our experts said that there's a you can make machine learn to differentiate between two flowers on the
Okay.
basis of their fragrance, right?
Fragrance,
Fragrance, yes.
okay, okay.
So I have seen that we can train machine to recognize sights, text, sound, and whatever.
Yeah, right.
But how can this
Smell,
sense?
yes.
How can we train machine that?
Yes, we can do it. See,
have any sensor for that?
images are captured by what? Eyes or camera.
Hanji.
So these sensors are able to capture images. So on the basis of visual perceptions, we can classify the objects like this is rose, this is lotus. But on the basis of smell, obviously we need a sensor which can differentiate or which can capture the smell. So you might have heard the let's say LPG sensor. You have seen maybe in your house there may be LPG sensor. So if there is a LPG leakage, it detects that LPG and raises the alarm. Similarly, we have sensors. We have made the sensors to capture the smells. Smell is actually what? It's a chemical vapor. So there are sensors which interact that chemicals and generates certain voltages depending on the types of those smells. So by capturing that voltage, because each smell will generate different voltages, so they are different with each other, and on the basis of that voltages we can take action.
Okay. So since now we have, have we been able to develop any such?
Yes, they are already
AI?
developed. They are developed.
Okay.
We have various sensors which work on various chemical vapors. The chemistry people actually generally work on them.
Thank you.
There may be some
Thank
other
you.
tools, I may not be aware in that area. They can differentiate with the chemical structures. I think one is a spectrometer or something else. They can differentiate. Any question? It's a very important actually area. Lots of research is being carried in this area. If there are a few PhD scholars or would be PhD scholars, they can definitely go for these areas. And India has lots of potential in this. This new government has vision to make the India very efficient in technology also. So as I think, this is my perception and few inputs also, the government is